It can be pretty tedious. Okay, so the first thing we want to note when solving these quadratics, let's go ahead and remind ourselves of how they look when they're written in standard form. A quadratic written in standard form. Okay, if you guys remember, A is in front, usually in front of like the x squared, b squared, whatever. B comes in the middle, in front of just the one x or one variable. Then we have our c on the end. And it's going to be equal to 0. Okay, now here's a note I want you to write on your paper because we're going to run into this snag here in a second. It must equal 0 in order to solve. It must equal 0 in order to solve. So that equals 0 part is really important. Okay, everybody have that down? Okay, let's look at number 2 then. Answer me this. Is that guy equal to 0? No, it's not. And that doesn't mean, oh, sorry, it's not equal to 0. We can't solve it. Nope, we got to make it equal 0. So here's what I always say. We have an option. We could move 8p squared or we could move 14. Don't move the p squareds or the x squareds or the whatever squareds. Keep those where they're at. Okay? So which one should we move instead?
14.
The 14. Okay. How do I move, or what is the opposite of a positive 14?
Negative 14.
Look at you guys go. Okay, so we're going to subtract 14 from both sides. So that means it's going to give me 8p squared on this side. We didn't touch it. Didn't affect him. Just moved that negative 14 over to that side. And now it equals 0. And I'm just now realizing that we might have to use some more space. That's good for you guys. Okay, so we have 8p squared minus 14. Now, in order to plug this into the quadratic formula, because this guy's not factorable, we have to identify A, B, and C. This one's kind of tricky. Raise your hand if you think you could tell me what A, B, and C are for this guy. Lily?
8, A,
Uh-huh.
B, 14, and then C, 0.
Ooh, super close.
B, 0, and C.
Love it. Okay, there's actually a little 0x in the middle. Love that. Great correction, Lily. So we have an A equals, in fact, let's write that right here. A equals 8. B equals 0. And C equals negative 14. There was no B, right? There was no something X in the middle, so that just means it's 0. Okay, so now that we know A, B, and C, okay, those of you guys watching your Chromebooks or doing something else, this assignment's going to be really painful for you, so pay attention. Okay, now we know A, B, and C, we got to plug it into our formula. It's big, it's long, it's ugly, but all we got to do is take those numbers, plug them in where they go. Okay, we're going to use number 3 space. Don't worry, we're going to skip it anyway. Here we go. You ready?
Oh no.
X is equal to negative B, but don't put B. What did we decide B was?
0.
0. Plus or minus the square root, and that's okay, give yourself some space, of B squared, which we said was 0, right? B is 0. Minus 4, that always is a 4, times A, wait, what was my A?
8.
8. Times C, what was my C?
Negative 14.
Negative 14. Don't forget that negative. Okay, and it's all being divided by, that whole big thing, being divided by 2 times A. Well, our A was 8, so 2 times 8. Whew. That's big, that's long, that's ugly. This is where a calculator is going to be your best friend today. Okay, so we want to solve this guy first. Okay, so let's go ahead and just punch him right into our calculator. So just the piece underneath my square root. Yeah, feel free to grab a calculator, you guys. You're definitely going to want one. Okay, so we have parentheses. Remember, when you're punching it into a calculator, punch it in exactly the way we wrote it on our paper. 0 squared minus 4 parentheses 8 parentheses parentheses negative 14 parentheses. We punch that thing in just the way it looks. Okay, all right. Calculator can do the hard work. 448. That's a big number. That's okay. Okay. So this whole piece right here turned into square root of 448. Okay, that looks a little nicer. Wait a second. Negative 0. Is that anything?
No.
Nah. So we just have a plus minus, and then being divided by, what's 2 times 8? What's on bottom?
Yeah, something's wrong with my calculator.
16. If you need help punching it into your calculator, that's okay. We'll get there. Okay. So guess what? First, we're going to check and see, well, is 448 a perfect square? If it is, we're going to simplify it. Square root 448. Is it a perfect square?
No.
Nope. So here's what I want. This guy right here is fine for your answer. Boom.
That's your answer?
That's your answer. It's an ugly answer, right? Because this guy wasn't factorable. He didn't like the nice method. Your answers are going to be ugly. Plus or minus the square root of 448 divided by 16. And that's totally fine. That's a valid answer. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at number 4. We're skipping number 3. We took it space, so let's go ahead and look at number 4. Is it equal to 0?
Yeah.
Yep, so we can go ahead, identify A, B, and C. What's my A, B, and C here? Kaylee?
So A is 4, B is 0, C is negative 11.
Great job. Again, there's no middle term. There's no something P, which means our B is 0. C, negative 11. Nice. Okay, that's a super important step. Seems really simple, but if you don't know what A, B, and C are, you're not going to plug them into the right spots. Okay, so let's go ahead and now plug it into our formula. X is equal to negative B, again our B is 0, plus or minus square root, feel free to go into number 5 space, we'll go ahead and skip him too, B squared, 0 squared, minus 4 times A, which was also 4, times C, which is negative 11. All being divided by 2 times A, so 2 times 4. It's long, but all we did there was identify A, B, and C and put them where they go in the formula. Your calculator can do the rest, honestly. It's tedious, it's not too hard, it's just kind of annoying, is what I would call it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just solve, again, this piece underneath our square root. Let's put that into our calculator, figure out what that's gonna be. Okay, so I'm gonna punch it in exactly how it looks. Kaylee, question.
I got it.
You got it? What'd you get?
176.
176. In case you didn't get it quite yet, I'm going to show you how to punch it in again. Okay, 176 is what you got. Let's double check. Parentheses, 0 parentheses squared, minus 4 parentheses, 4 parentheses, parentheses, negative 11, close parentheses. Boom, love it. Great job, Kay. Okay, so we have, we'll go right here now, square root of 176. That negative 0 in front, we don't care about, so it's just going to be a plus or a minus. All being divided by, what's 2 times 4?
8.
8, good job. Okay, let's see if 176 is a perfect square. If so, we're going to simplify it. If not, we're just going to leave it how it is. So again, in my calculator, I'm going to take second square root, 176 Nope, not a perfect square, so that makes our life kind of easy. Our answer is just this ugly guy right there.
We're skipping 5.
Yep. Just because these guys need a lot of space, we'll probably even skip 7 too.
I,
Yeah, we guess we're skipping 7 too.
Okay. Number 6. First things first, is this guy equal to 0?
no.
No. So we got to move something. Remember, don't move this guy. Keep him where he's at. So what should I move? What needs to go over to the other side?
-4.
Negative 4x. Beautiful. Okay, what is the opposite, or how do I move negative 4x?
Add it. Or,
Good.
yeah, add it.
Yes, beautiful. That gets rid of it on that side. Just moves it over to that side.
And then you bring the 11 down plus 4x.
Love it. Man, you guys are good. Okay, so then 11x squared, he's our biggest guy, right? He goes in front. This plus 4x just goes in the middle. All right, he's our next guy. Minus 1. Now it equals 0. We had to make it equal 0 in order to solve it. Okay, who can identify my A, B, and C? Kaylee.
A is 11, B is 4, C is -1.
Love it. Great job. A 11, B 4, C -1. Okay, now that we identified those, just plug them into the formula where they go. Okay, so we have x is equal to negative b, this time it's 4, plus or minus the square root of b squared, again, 4, minus the 4 that's always in the formula, a, 11, c, -1, and it's all being divided by 2 times a.
Oh.
Nice. Okay, let's solve the ugliest or longest part first. Just punch it into your calculator. So if you have a calculator, I highly recommend you practice. And I highly recommend you use one of my calculators. Your phone calculators just aren't as nice. You might get something different. Okay, so let's go ahead, punch it in exactly the way it looks. Parentheses, 4 parentheses squared, minus 4 parentheses, 11 parentheses, parentheses, -1 parentheses. What'd you get, Kay?
60.
I agree. Beautiful. Okay, so we get square root of 60. That whole big piece just turned into 60. That's great.
Plus or minus.
Plus or minus, but then it's not 0 this time. It's -4, right? So now our answer looks like -4 plus or minus square root of 60 divided by what? What's 2 times 11?
22.
Is 60 a perfect square? Nope, there's not. It's 49 and then it goes to 64. 60 is not a perfect square. So we're gonna go ahead and just leave our answer just like that.
No perfect squares yet.
It's ugly, but it's an answer. Alrighty. Yeah, we'll do number 8. Okay. Is it equal to 0?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, somebody raise your hand. Identify my A, B, and C for me in this guy. Donovan?
Mine is A, and B is 3,
B, C would be -3, so what would my B be?
0.
There you go. Beautiful. Okay, we're missing that middle term, which tells us our B is 0. Okay, so now that we know A, B, and C, let's go ahead and plug it into our formula. Here we go. Same thing. X is equal to negative B, -0, plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C, all being divided by 2 times A. We identified A, B, and C. We put them where they go. Okay. See, some of you guys already punching into your calculator. You're awesome. Let's go ahead and figure out what this guy turns into. Okay, I'm going to punch it in exactly how it looks. If you already have an answer, save it. See if we get the same one. Parentheses 0 squared minus 4, parentheses 9, parentheses, parentheses, negative 3, parentheses. What do we get? What'd you guys get? Okay?
108.
Nice. 108. I agree. Okay, so we get that whole thing just turned into the square root of 108. Calculator is great. Okay, we don't have anything in front. Negative 0 is just 0. So just keep your plus or minus there. And then it's being divided by 2 times 9. Well, what is 2 times 9?
18.
18. I know 108 is not a perfect square, so it can't be simplified. Well, we don't want to. It could be simplified, but we're just going to leave it like that. Leave our answer just like that. Okay, I see you guys getting onto your computer already. Psych, turn your paper over. I'm going to show you one more example. You're like, "Ugh." Yep, I know. Let me think. Yes. Hold on. Copy that guy down right there. Almost forgot. You're either going to love me at the end of this example or you're really going to hate me. There's going to be no in between. Okay, is it equal to 0?
Yes.
Yes.
So somebody help me identify my A, B, and C for this guy. Kaylee?
A is 1, B is negative 13, and C is 30.
Boom. Okay. Booyah. Okay, let's see how this guy works out. A, B, and C. Okay, let's plug them into our quadratic formula, just where they go. So x is equal to negative b, which is negative 13. Okay, double negative there. We'll deal with that in a second. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, negative 13 squared, minus 4 times a times c, all being divided by 2 times a. Okay, let's figure out what our long piece turns into by just punch it into our calculator. Okay, so let's punch that guy in right here. Figure out what we get under that square root. Okay, go ahead and check your work, see if we get the same thing. Parentheses negative 13, parentheses squared, minus 4, parentheses 1, parentheses, parentheses 30, parentheses. What do we get, Kay?
289.
Hold on, let me check. Okay, we got negative 13 squared. Yes, minus 4 times 1 times 30.
You did a positive one and not a negative one.
Ooh, but it is a positive one.
I thought it was a negative.
Positive one.
Never mind. That was my fault. Yeah, you're right.
No worries. Okay, that's the one thing about calculators. Sometimes you want to just check your work. Okay, so we do get positive 49. That whole piece just turned into positive 49. Okay. Let's deal with my double negative. What does a double negative turn into?
Positive.
A positive. So now I'm dealing with positive 13 plus or minus the square root of 49 divided by, what's 2 times 1?
2.
2. Okay, here's where you're gonna have fillings. Is 49 a perfect square? Yes, it is. What is the square root of 49? 7. Okay, so this turns into 13 plus or minus 7 divided by 2. Okay, that square root of 49 just turned into that 7, right? That is a perfect square. Okay, so this plus or minus right here, this is where it gives us two answers, right? In a quadratic, we always have two factors. So, our first answer is going to be 13 plus 7 divided by 2. Our second answer is going to be 13 minus 7 divided by 2. Let's figure out what these are. 13 plus 7 on top. What's that going to give me? 13 plus 7. Thank you. 20 divided by 2. What is 20 divided by 2?
10.
That's kind of a pretty answer. 10. It's our first answer. Okay, let's do our second answer then. 13 minus 7.
6.
What is 6 divided by 2? That's also a pretty answer. Okay, those are our two answers that the quadratic formula gave us. It was long and painful to get those two answers. They're pretty though. Could I have factored this guy?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Last thing before I set you free on your assignment. Give me two numbers that'll multiply to 30 and add to negative 13.
10.
Okay, do you guys remember that the answers are just the opposite signs of those guys? So what are my two answers when we factored it? Positive 10, positive 3. Is that what we got with the quadratic formula? Did we have to use the quadratic formula on that guy? No. Does he always work? Yeah. I would say check to see if you can factor it first. On your assignment today, none of them are factorable. Sorry about that. Okay? But it always works.